Welcome to the Department Chair Leadership Podcast, where the goal is to improve organizations and serve students one leader at a time. I'm your host, Dr. Chris Jochum. If you're a department chair in higher education or any type of educational leader, and you want to improve yourself to better serve and influence those you lead, you've come to the right place. Because the best way to improve an organization is to improve its leader. Let's get started. Welcome back, friends, and thank you for taking some time to invest in yourself and those you serve by focusing on your leadership development. Today, I'd like to share two things with you that I really hope will encourage you and help you continue down your path to leadership as a department chair. First thing is what I have come to refer to as the Servant Leaders Credo, along with top 10 leadership realities. Why am I doing this? Because as we all know, all leadership, but especially the role of the department chair, can be as rewarding as it is challenging. And the minute you decide to become the chair, whether you realize it or not, you took on a new area of expertise called leadership. And you owe it to the people you serve to learn about this and maximize your leadership potential. In the end, I hope that this gives you two things: direction and permission. Direction in terms of helping you better understand what it means to lead others, and in the end, also permission to not only make mistakes, but to give yourself some grace in the process, and to not take things so personally. That there's many things, many challenges that we face when we move from faculty member to chair. But man, it's human nature to take things maybe more personally than we should. And so these are things that I have developed through my own experience, which means I've probably messed up in a lot of these areas and had to struggle and figure out how to maybe do it a better way. And then I've been able to share these as I have presented and trained and coached others. So let's get going here. So the first thing that I'd like to share is the Servant Leaders Credo. And this is how it begins. If you want to write this down or say this out loud, feel free. But it begins as a servant leader, I fully acknowledge, understand, and or admit that. And there are 8 things here. The first one, number 1, Servant Leaders Credo. It is not about me, but it does start with me. So, first of all, your daily agenda as a leader in any organization, if you're doing it right, is not 100% your own anymore. With a servant leader mindset, first and foremost, most days, you show up to serve other people, not named you, because that is just the nature of it. It doesn't mean that you neglect yourself and you don't take time for yourself, but by and large, you are now in the service industry. You are in a helping profession as a leader, and it's not about you. It's not all about you, and you're not the most important person on your agenda every day, but it does start with you. So as the leader of the organization, you better believe it's your goal, your job, I should say, to cast the vision, to set the culture, to establish relationships, to have the tough conversations. So number 1, it's not about me, but it starts with me. Number 2, Servant Leaders Credo. I must give up to go up. What got me here won't get me there. Very, very true in higher education. Already said this many times. What made you a successful faculty member, while necessary to be an effective chair and an effective leader in and of itself, is not sufficient. So there's a lot of humility there and vulnerability, which is a leader's superpower. And so you must acknowledge, I must give up to go up. I'm starting over. What got me here will not get me there. Number 3 on the credo, I am in the people business, and people are messy, and I'm a people. Yes, it's not grammatically correct, but I think you get the point. No one is perfect, including me, including you. And you are now the chief people officer and the chief problem solver, and many times the chief worry officer. Yes, you're also the traditional CEO in many ways of your organization, but you're in the people business, and people are messy, and so are you, so am I. We're all in it together. Number 4, other people's irresponsibility will oftentimes become my responsibility. This is a big one, because you may not cause the problem, you may not start the issue, but believe it or not, like it or not, as the leader of the organization, as the chair of the department, oftentimes you're gonna have to finish it. It'll be your responsibility. And even when people have the best of intentions, they'll do something that at the end of the day is irresponsible. It isn't in line with protocol or policy, and it becomes your responsibility. So that's just part of it. Number 5, I will never have a perfect group of people, and they will never have a perfect leader. I'm going to say that again. I will never have a perfect group of people, and they will never have a perfect leader. That means you, that means me as the leader. Okay? Number 6, I must be vulnerable, because people will see my faults whether I admit it or not. We know that vulnerability is our superpower as a leader, and we know that people are pretty sharp. And here's the thing: we've all been there with our leaders, with our bosses. We all see their faults. Okay, so why not just admit it? Whether it is something that you made a mistake on, you wish you could do over, but we must be vulnerable, because people are going to see our faults whether we admit it or not. Number 7 on the servant leader's credo: conflict happens every day, and that's okay. Just get used to it. Every day there's going to be something going on, and you will have to address it. Similar to number 4, other people's irresponsibility. Yeah, a lot of that conflict, it's your responsibility. Maybe you didn't start it, but it's your job to address it and finish it. Number 8, the last part here of the servant leader's credo is relationships and influence are not optional. No, you don't have an option. You must develop and sustain, and at times repair, relationships and influence. I mean, in one word, if we had to describe or define leadership in one word, it'd be influence. My definition is it's influence through service, courage, character, and relationships. So the 8 things that I've shared here with the servant leader's credo, I think you can see that my framework for leadership is pretty much represented and infused in that. And I can tell you, both personally and then through working with others, this is very helpful. This can serve maybe as some guidance, some advice. So real quick, just if you want to get them down again, servant leader's credo. Number 1, it's not about me, but it starts with me. Number 2, I must give up to go up. What got me here will not get me there. Number 3, I am in the people business, and people are messy, and I'm a people. Number 4, other people's irresponsibility will oftentimes become my responsibility. 5, I will never have a perfect group of people, and they will never have a perfect leader. 6, I must be vulnerable. People will see my faults whether I admit it or not. Number 7, conflict happens every day, and that's okay. And then number 8, relationships and influence are not optional. So that's what I call my servant leader's credo. Hopefully it'll add some value to you, and you might find that what works for me isn't 100% what works for you. So feel free to modify that. All I ask people, and this has been throughout my whole career, is if I give you something or share something with you and you find a way to make it better, please let me know, because I might implement what you found, and then in return it'll make me better, which will also improve the people that I serve. The second part of this, what I wanted to share in this episode, so in addition to the servant leader's credo, are what I call 10 leadership realities. And remember, I told you what I want for you in the end of this. Why I'm sharing this is because I think it'll be helpful. What I want for you is to give you direction and permission, some direction in terms of your leadership philosophy, how you're defining it, and then also permission to make mistakes and realize that, hey, it's not all about you. It starts with you, but at the end, still, you don't take things so personally. So here are some leadership realities, and these just dig a little deeper, I think, but nonetheless, I found are very, very helpful. So number one, leadership reality number one, I am the only human in the world I can control. Everything else is influence. We know that. That's what makes leadership many parts of leadership that I really enjoy. But just think about that. We have to influence entire organizations with many moving parts, and we essentially do it with our hands in our pockets. How do we influence others? Well, it has to be through our character. It has to be through our relationships. It has to be through our words. And so leadership reality number one is I'm the only human in the world I can control. That's it. I can control me. Everything else is influence. Number two, Gallup, and I hope you've heard of Gallup. If not, they've been around a number of years. They do great research, and they poll people all across the globe. But Gallup has found that leaders affect 70% of the employee experience. Part of that is engagement. Part of that is productivity. But big picture is, as a leader, probably one of, if not the most influential variable in an employee's experience. I can tell you my background. I told you, as I started as a public school teacher, and I now chair a department of teacher education, so we train teachers. And I can tell you that here's the good news about teaching in general, certainly in kindergarten through high school. Number one variable, most influential variable factor in a child's education is the teacher. And who's the leader of that classroom? The teacher. So it does make sense that in any organization, leaders are the most influential variable in the employee experience. Leadership reality number three. I'm enough, you're enough, we're enough. Abundance mentality. Okay, there's enough to go around. And if we ever run out, you know what? We'll just make more. So we're using the analogy of a pie. There's always enough to go around, or we just make more. But we can't live in this scarcity mentality. It is toxic to cultures. And so leadership reality number three that I want you to understand and hopefully embody and infuse in the cultures and the people that you lead are I'm enough, you're enough, we're enough. Okay, we can all we can all be happy, we can all be successful. It's not about the only way person A can be happy or successful is if person B feels and has the exact opposite. That is not the case at all. That's what Stephen Covey, many years ago, I think he was the one that started the term in his research and his writings about abundance mentality. Number four, leadership reality. Hurting people hurt people and are easily hurt by people. I'm going to say that again. I think this resonates already. Hurting people hurt people and are easily hurt by people. Remember up in the Credo, it's not about you. Look, people are walking around with some really tough stuff. And we'll do other episodes on this and talk about the effect of trauma and just the baggage that people carry. That kind of plays into how we should address conflict. But at the end of the day, hurting people hurt people and are easily hurt by people. Don't take it so personally. A lot of times As individuals, there's a saying, when we're squeezed, whatever is inside comes out. And so if we're up against it, if we're stressed, if we're anxious, be that personally or professionally, if we got a bunch of hurt inside of us, you know what? That's what's going to come out, and that's what we're gonna reflect to others. And as a leader, more so than maybe any other time in your career, you're unfortunately going to be on the end of that. It's not necessarily directed at you. It's more a function of what somebody is struggling with. Maybe it's been for years. Maybe they don't even know what they're struggling with. But again, oftentimes, if you think somebody is attacking you or trying to hurt you, oftentimes it's because they are the one that's actually hurting, and that's just what's inside. Number 5, I am a colleague and a leader, not a caretaker. Remember, I wanted to give you permission. You are a colleague as a chair, right? Your definition of middle management, you still serve as a colleague in many ways, but you're also a leader. But you are not a caretaker. Give yourself permission to give that role up. That is not in your contract. All right, you are professional. You are responsible for the professional well-being in many ways and guidance and mentoring of your colleagues, but you are not there to make up for some personal deficit. All right, and it's hard for some of us not to, and all of us are human, to not blur the lines between professional and personal. But I promise you, you do this long enough, you're going to have folks that don't even realize it, that some of the things, what they're really asking of you, i.e. needing in another human, is more personal advice, more personal caretaking. That's not your job. Doesn't mean you can't have empathy. It doesn't mean you can't extend them grace. But in a professional setting, which is what you are hired to do, you are their colleague and leader, not their caretaker. Number 6 of the top 10 leadership realities. I affect, but I am not responsible for other people's personal, private fulfillment and happiness. So this goes along with number 5 about not being a caretaker. Yes, please do not underestimate just how much you do affect people's personal lives. That's one of my big goals and why I like doing this and believe in leadership development, is I do think better leaders enable people to lead better personal and professional lives. Yes, you will be the topic of of conversation in people's dinner tables. Their kids will know your name, whether they know you personally. But listen, while you do affect their personal lives and fulfillment, you are not solely responsible for it. So while you can, yes, hopefully make it contribute to it being better, if bad leaders unfortunately also contribute to it being worse, but you're not 100% responsible for their personal and private fulfillment and happiness. Number 7, adults are fully capable of being disappointed. I'm going to say that again. You can even say it with me. Sometimes when we say something out loud, it really helps. Adults are fully capable of being disappointed. It is not your job to keep people happy all the time. Actually, when you look at the research on employee engagement and even morale, it's not synonymous with happy. Okay, adults are capable of being disappointed. Don't feel bad if you have to upset somebody, as long as you are not violating a law, as long as you are not physically harming them, okay, as long as you are being professional. Simply disappointing somebody, certainly somebody that you serve, that's okay. It doesn't make you a bad person. That's part of the job. Adults are fully capable of being disappointed. It's okay. Give yourself permission to disappoint those that you lead and serve, because you're going to do it just as much probably as they disappoint you. It's okay. Remember, you're not their caretaker, and you're not fully responsible for their personal and private fulfillment and happiness. Number 8, out of the top 10 leadership realities. The stories we tell ourselves. When you're working both in your own mind and when you're working through conflict, always step back, and we'll go into this more in the future. What story am I telling myself here? Have I made an assumption about another person, and without ever even talking to them or finding out more, I'm behaving incorrectly on that, and that's probably affecting how I'm treating them? And then at the other side of that coin is, don't just assume that that person is thinking of you a certain way or engaged in whatever the conflict is a certain way. So of everyone in the world, throughout our entire lives, we will never talk to another human. We talk to ourselves more than we talk to any other humans. So try not to get caught up in, well, I'm making this assumption, okay, or that person must think this about me. Always step back and let's check the stories that we are telling ourselves and perhaps the stories that others are telling themselves. Number 9, 2 things can be true at the same time. Yes, 2 things can be true at the same time. Sometimes with the best of intentions, we want to live sometimes in this binary mindset. And here's what I mean. Somebody can be a really good human being, a great person, and maybe they're just not cut out for the promotion they got, right? No, somebody can be a great faculty member, a great colleague, and maybe we find out, but gosh, man, they were promoted to something else. Maybe it's a chair job, maybe it's a director job, and we feel bad because it's almost like, yes, we acknowledge that they're not really good at this thing, but we almost, I don't know if it's human nature, but we almost feel like, but man, if we admit that they're bad at that, we're saying they're a bad person. No. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to think that I'm a pretty good human being. You know what? If I walked into an operating room tomorrow, I would be a terrible brain surgeon. Trust me, you would not want me to do that. 2 things can be true. So in your role as a chair, realize 2 things can be true at the same time. You can have a faculty member that's brilliant in certain areas, and maybe they just make a really bad choice. And addressing that with them doesn't mean, well, it's one or the other. You're either excellent in all facets or you're not. No, you're a good person that made a bad choice. We're going to deal with it. 2 things can be true at the same time. Don't get caught in this binary mindset. Okay? And then finally, number 10 on the 10 leadership realities, and this is a phrase that has helped me both in my personal and my private life, and I know it'll help you as a leader. They're allowed. Yeah, they're allowed. Sometimes because we're stressed, or the stories we tell ourselves, or because we think 2 things can't be true at once. How could they do that? Well, you know what? If they didn't violate a state or federal law, or in higher ed, Title VII, Title IX, didn't create a crime, or didn't commit a crime, didn't misuse funds, yeah, they're allowed. How could they? How could they roll their eyes that way in the meeting when I tried to talk about my research? Well, I'm not saying it was what we would have preferred, but you know what? They're allowed. How could they say no to that? Well, you know what? They're probably allowed. Trust me, that'll help. Okay, because we don't want to get caught up into this mindset of, if people do something that doesn't go the way that I, as the leader with the best of intentions for them, go, that it means either something's wrong with them, they don't like me, they're not on board. No, it probably just means they're human, right? Probably just means they're human. So at the end of this, I hope my 2 main goals for this podcast, and I really hope that that this will add some value to you, and you can kind of take these, digest them, and reflect and see how they work in your world. But again, I want to give you direction as a leader, because you are defining. Don't make no mistake, leadership is leadership. You're defining your leadership roles. You just happen to serve within an academic department. But I wanted to give you some direction as a leader, and then permission. Like I said, permission to realize you're not going to get it right every time. You don't lead a perfect group of people, and they don't have a perfect leader. You're going to make mistakes. Give yourself grace, and don't take things so personally. So I hope that my servant leader's credo, along with the top 10 leadership realities, have been helpful. So as always, thank you for joining me on the Department Chair Leadership Podcast. I wish you well, and I'll see you next time. Thank you for listening to the Department Chair Leadership Podcast. If you want to learn more about my leadership philosophy and how to be an effective chair, please consider my book, The Department Chair, A Practical Guide to Effective Leadership. You can find this and learn more about me by going to cjleadership.com. Also, please be sure to like this podcast, leave a review, and share with your colleagues. Thanks again for improving your organization and those you serve by improving yourself. Take care.